Well, howdy, folks. 2025 season is in full swing now into the second main regatta of the year. We had the Rowing Victoria Junior and Inter Schoolgirls St Catherine's Regatta. We're going to give you the down low on everything that transpired on the weekend. We might even cover off what happened up in New South Wales mini nationals, the New South Wales State Championships. And of course, I am joined again by the doyen of rowing, Alan Crute. Thank you for joining me, Alan.
Oh, great to be here, Guy, and hello, Jo, and hello, listeners.
Hello, Jo. Thanks for joining us again, Jo.
Pleasure.
Now, Jo, I believe you did meet Alan face-to-face last weekend up on the banks of the Barwon River. Did he behave himself?
He did. It was great to meet Alan finally face-to-face.
Yep.
Good rowing chats again, but no, it was good.
I imagine he tore the ears off many a listener in the Fintona tent, did he? Or
Yes, he certainly shared some great stories and good insights and facts, which kept everyone entertained.
Well, he certainly can do that. On that, Alan, we're going to start off with the juniors tonight. Is that what we just decided we're going to do?
I think we will, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit out of sorts. I was a bit late home from rowing, and I've just run in here. I've grabbed a mouthful of lasagna, and I've sat down and trying to work out even what the regatta was. But that's all right. We'll get cracking.
You might need a drip.
Oh, that would be a good start. But anyway, we are where we are. Firstly, how was the conditions on the Barwon on Saturday?
Well, it was a bit blowy, I think. What did you think, Jo? A bit blowy?
Yeah, very blowy. Yeah, and also too, we had that. I don't know if you heard about it. They cut the course short, Alan, tonight.
Yeah, I heard that.
Because there was a sewage leak up at the start. So.
A sewage leak at the start. That affects rowing, does it?
Guy, there was a sign up near the footbridge, which I only paid half attention to.
The footbridge has another name too, Alan. I won't say it. This is a kids' show.
No, that's all right.
But doesn't that send certain stuff across, which affects what
Yes, it does. And I didn't pick up on this too early because usually at lunchtime I look at the results, but I was looking at the New South Wales results, and it was only early in the afternoon when some of the parents were getting terribly excited about the times, and I was on the footbridge and thought, gee, they are actually starting a bit closer to me than normal, and I checked out with, and I didn't spot you then, Jo, you might have gone, I don't know, but anyway, so you'll see when we go through the events, there was a period where it just changed over from 1,000 to 900 metres.
Right, because I've just done a quick glance and I'm seeing, what's that, Year 10 schoolgirls beating men's eights over a kilometre.
It changed over at Junior Division 3, but we'll get to that.
To their credibility on the Rowing Vic website, they have shown that it says 900 metres, not a kilometre.
Oh, have they? I haven't seen that.
I'm just looking at it now. It does say 9, but there's still some quick times. Anyway, let's jump into it, shall we? What stood out?
Well, in junior single sculls, I may not get as many winners if you ask me that dreadful question again before head of schoolgirls this year. But Sky Quirk, not Quick, Sky Quirk.
Who is Quick?
The favourite for junior single sculls. She won easily again at the weekend. She's won 3 regattas now. Met her mum, ex St Cath's.
Right,
yeah. Her grandma. She goes to Cardinia, but is rowing for Corio Bay, and she looks a peach in that single scull event. Did you spot that one, Jo, that lass?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, she had a great time.
Yeah. She's well ahead, isn't she, Jo, of the rest? Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. Quickly, going on to double sculls, Milton and Agars from Coral won. But again, Wang and Yang, you'll remember there.
I do remember Wang and Yang.
Yeah, well, Wang and Yang actually won the B final.
I can see.
But they only were 4 seconds slower than the Corowa girls. Yep. And I actually met one of the dads on the bridge, but his English wasn't that flash. So I don't know which girl he
was, Wang or Yang.
But there's another Coral crew there that rode a 424. Wang and Yang rode a 420. The Coral Girls rode a 416. I wouldn't say that's wide open, but that's fun, that division.
There's four. I'm just looking at that now as you talk. The A final, 416, 424. The B final, 420 and 425. That's four boats that could win, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
which is
even
great stuff. That's good. Now going to quads. These were all split events, which actually gives the girls an extra chance to get a gold medal, which I don't mind these days because I always think that's fun. Remember that MGGS was in Penrith in this division.
Okay.
Anthony and all.
Yep.
Okay. So LT has won one of those splits in a 319. Furbank won the other in a 324. But Guy, if you're looking at the times there,
900.
There's a lot in
319. Jesus.
Hey?
Yeah.
That's all even. Wesley were good. Do you notice in the Furbank division how Toorak College rode a 329? And Damascus a 331 in the B final? They were really good. That was very encouraging, I thought.
Yep.
So, we're looking for schools to come through. MLC were good in the Loretto's split in the B final, running a 325. I mean, that looks good. I mean, you put MGGS in there. I don't know. I mean, look, I was thinking it earlier in the evening. If you took a trifecta, LT, MGGS and MLC in most of these events, you're going to win a fair bit.
Am I right in suggesting MLC were a bit off the boil last year? I think they were getting used to Matt Wilson, and now they're used to him, and they're firing. Right, okay. Now, where did he come from? Because you were raving about him. Yeah,
right. He won all those national titles with Brighton.
With the quads, right.
Yeah. Okay, so any comments, Jo?
No, but similar times down as well. MLC, there wasn't a lot in it. I actually really liked the split finals and the way the finals ran over the weekend. I found like it became really competitive. Like the heat sort of pushed them into the right areas and right divisions because there were some great races.
Yeah. Gives more people
and as Alan said, it does give opportunity for, I mean, there's a great saying in all sport, and I think, I see it in Masters all too often, is the luck of the draw. And because Masters is always split. We only do one race. We don't do, semis, heats or any of that business. We just go to one race. So if you're at Barwon, the most you'll ever compete against is 3, and there could be 16 entries and it gets split up. So luck of the draw. And that does give a bit of a chance with the split thing.
Absolutely.
I'm in two minds. I like it if it gives an opportunity and gives some motivation and excitement.
I'm one of these folk that think that, and I was howled down when I raised this in about 2016. I actually think in rowing they should get first, seconds and thirds if the fleet's big enough. But anyway, that's just me.
Agree with that.
I just think it's hard when girls go through an entire rowing career and don't win a medal. I just don't like
I completely agree with that. Yet you can go to a Masters State Championship and beat one other crew and get a medal. And I don't think that's...
Yeah, I know.
You walk away thinking you're a hero and you've really just top 75% and I've got a medal.
Yeah, you have to have a certain size of fleet, don't you?
Agree. You do. So if there's 2, there's 1 medal. If there's 3, there's 2 medals. So, and if there's 4, there's 3 medals. So you could actually get a medal being in the 75%.
I would have thought more like 8. Anyway, let's move on.
I agree.
So JQ2 was a ripper. MLC won one side in 327.
Alan, I'm going to jump in and stop you there because I always get confused with this too. And people listening, the JQ, the
Junior
EQ,
Quad Division 2.
Yep, Junior Quad, JQ.
So this was an absolute blinder because MLC's won one of those splits in 327 and Loretto Toorak has won in 327 on the other side.
Yep. Yes. Nothing in it.
Yeah, nothing in that. You'll see that Damascus again made an A final there on the Loretto Toorak side, which is terribly exciting. Furbank there again. Loretto Ballarat did well. So I was just encouraged by all of that. That was good.
Yep.
So any thoughts, Joe, or you? I'm
going to be biased here and just make a note that the Fintona girls came second, very, very close second in their C final. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I have to keep an eye on that school. There's some good Fintona news lately.
Your 10 cents is slipping away at the moment.
I've got some good.
It was looking better last week.
I've got some good gossip for you later too. Now in JQ3, if you're looking there, you'll see that one split is 900 metre time, and one split, the one that MGGS won, is normal time. You spot that?
Yep.
Okay, so now, again, you've got MLC and Loretto Toorak only half a second apart.
Yeah. And
MGGS winning the other side. Yep. So if you were looking at that at the moment, wouldn't you be thinking it's MGGS, MLC and Loretto and final?
Yeah.
The Schoolgirls. I mean, it does look that way, doesn't it? I mean,
it does.
Yeah. And in the fourths, you've got to be careful here because Loretto had two boats. The one that won one of those splits in 355 was in fact their fourths. The one that made the final on the other side in 409 was their fifths.
Yep.
Again, there, Loretto Toorak still won 12 gold medals at this regatta, even though they were missing their first and second inter quads. MLC won 4. So I think Loretto's not quite as strong as last year, but nevertheless, they're going to win a heap of metal at Head of Schoolgirls.
Well, they took out 12 versus the second place MLC with 4 medals.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Anyway.
Yeah.
So that really does juniors in a quick time.
Their Div 5 crew too, Loretto Toorak, did the same time, 355, didn't they? Which was interesting.
In that JQ4 event?
In the Div 5.
Oh, did they? I didn't look at that one.
I know you don't go there.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's a joke.
There's just not a lot in it, I have to say.
Yeah.
Looking at all the divisions.
Well, certainly, as I said last week, I think MLC and MGGS are closer. Whether they can actually beat LT on the day is questionable, but they are closer. I'm pretty convinced about that. I'm also convinced that the overall competition is closer, which is going to make my job a hell of a lot more difficult.
Just jumping in on something here, because I don't mind looking at the lower divisions or whatever. The LT Division 8 crew would have won everything up to Division 4 by the look of things.
Well, I know the president of the club's daughter is in the bow of that crew.
Right.
And she's quite a little lass, and she was the one that beat me in an arm wrestle at Head of Schoolgirls last year. So I was looking for her at the weekend to actually get my own back, but she didn't come out of that boat park.
No.
Camilla. Anyway. Yeah, so I reckon there's some great... I mean, I'm delighted to see Damascus up there.
Yep.
Furbank are solid. We've talked about the big three. The Ballarat schools are pretty solid as well. Yeah, exciting.
Good stuff. Now, Joe, how were the parents behaved on the banks? Was it action aplenty?
It was. It was great to see a lot more parents there this weekend, or last weekend, participating and cheering on the kids. It was a lot bigger crowd than we had at the Morongo. So, it was good. Parents are good.
So they'll be warming up. A lot of the newbies of parents won't understand what's ahead of them for Head of Schoolgirls, of course. They'll hear about the myth of Head of Schoolgirls until they experience it firsthand, of course. But I'm sure you're giving them a heads up on how what they need to do for such an event.
Yeah, we've been talking about it a lot. I think it's definitely the talk under the school tents on these last few regatta weekends. Just trying to even explain to them like the carnival of what the Head of the Schoolgirls is. It is like a carnival, and I don't think they know what they're in for, but I'm pretty excited for them to experience it. Yeah.
I know when I first got involved in the schoolgirls rowing side, and some of the parents who'd been there for the year before were telling me about this thing. I said, "Come on, I've been rowing my whole life. It's nothing like that." Oh, they were right. It's a big event. It's a very exciting and let's not talk about that now. We'll be talking about it in a few weeks' time, a few months' time. But it is a big thing. Great. I
think there's or is it up to 8,000 spectators?
I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more.
Over the period.
I would have thought it's a lot more all up.
Yeah.
Because if you think of the competitors alone, isn't there? Oh God, I might be getting lost here, but isn't there? There's a couple of thousand competitors, isn't there?
Over 2,200, I think, this year. 45
competitors.
Schools. Yeah.
Yep. So if you add on a minimum of one parent, you're straight up. There's you're getting up there. There's probably two parents plus add-ons of siblings and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway,
So
we're sidetracking. We can talk more about that in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
A month's time. God.
All right. Shall we do the Inters?
Let's move into the Inters.
Well, in single sculls, I was delighted to see. I think her name's Mietta, but there was a lady called Wilson. I think Mietta Wilson won single sculls from PLC.
Am I seeing correctly? Am I seeing correctly, Alan? PLC.
Indeed.
What?
And I can tell you what. You mentioned to me some time ago about rowing short and fast. Remember that? We had that conversation.
Yeah.
You'd love her.
She's short and fast.
Short and fast.
Yeah.
She was fourth at the last regatta, but ascended to third. I mean, there was no Whitehouse or Whithouse, I think, not Whitehouse, Whithouse or Smith.
Yep.
But she won in nice fashion, which was good to see.
So I see, just looking at this, I see a PLC first and a PLC fourth. Why aren't they rowing a double?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I have no idea. Look, well, good question.
Seems logical to me, doesn't it?
The doubles fleet's going to be weaker than the singles fleet, so if they're listening in, maybe it's a good idea.
You want to get yourself a medal ahead of schoolgirls. Surely you'd line up for a double, wouldn't you?
The doubles fleets are actually weaker across the board this year.
Yeah.
So, is
that
that fair, Joe? Do you agree?
Yeah, there's not a lot of. I think they're struggling to. Like, we've got Div 1 in the doubles. I think we're struggling to even get two heats at the moment.
Yeah,
I know the St Catherine's girls weren't there this.
They were in the 8. They were 7 and 8 seed in the 8.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
Wonder why.
Oh, I just think it's one of those things. I mean, I don't think Albert Park College, which has dominated doubles in the last few years, has really got a crack doubles crew.
Yeah.
And they usually have 2. And I just think it's faded slightly, but not diabolically.
Yeah.
So in actually the doubles, young Sky Quirk came up from juniors and won with Walsh in Corio Bay.
She won't be able to do that ahead of schoolgirls, though, will she?
No, she won't. As I said, the St Catherine's girls were in the 8, but that 8 won't run at ahead of schoolgirls. And the Corowa lasses are probably ranked second in that fleet behind the St Catherine's girls. So, just moving on quickly. In the first division, I mean, I think these two divisions are absolute rippers, frankly. In that IE1 division,
intermediate 8,
Division 1, Genesana strangely packed up at lunchtime and went home. And they won both of these divisions last time.
Why did they pack up and go?
I just was walking past and they were packing up, so I don't quite get that. But anyway,
doesn't look like they didn't even race, did they?
They didn't race. No, they decided. I mean, there may have been a school event on there. Who knows? But
they turned up. They went down.
Oh,
there.
They turned up for juniors, but they went home.
Oh, I see. Sorry. Right. Okay.
So there might have been something on. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a grand plan. Now you have to remember here, CGS's firsts were in Penrith.
Yep.
So in the Division 1, Geelong College won by 2 seconds from Wesley, a second back to Care and a second back to St Catherine's. That was a smashing event.
Yep.
Probably one of the highlights of the day.
Yeah, that's close, isn't it? I can see that.
Yeah, close.
First to fourth and there's only a few seconds. There's a length between it.
So you do have Genazzano in that fleet, or
Yep.
Caulfield's first.
Yep.
So, and take out St Catherine, because I don't think they'll race that.
Yep.
Because they won't have their double scullers in there, because they won't
Yep.
forgo a gold medal. In the second division, Carey won by 9 seconds. The CGS thirds, I think, lost a rudder and snaked down the down the river, which was entertaining for the neutrals, but that's about it.
Not much fun when you lose a rudder, I can tell you that.
Well, I can only assume you'd know about. If you were watching, you'd know.
Yeah.
But they had no control over the boat.
Yeah.
And they were lucky not to hit the bridge at the at the end.
All part of the fun.
You saw that one, didn't you, Jo? That
I did. I have to say, they did a good recovery to get over from that last bridge down
Yes.
to the finishing line. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they did well.
Yeah, they did well, but I mean, Caulfield Grammar much better than last year generally. I mean, they're doing exceptionally well.
Yeah, sorry,
Quickly.
Alan, I've got to just jump in here. This is the Coxswain's Journey podcast. The job of the coxswain when the boat is being launched is to make sure the rudder is protected. You would have... I'm not having a crack at anyone here, mind you, so hopefully no one takes like...
Well,
the job is to make sure the rudder is protected. So coxswains, you probably don't think about it, but always keep an eye on the rudder, because that is your task to make sure that is protected as the boat gets put in, because the rowers don't care less.
what was the only thing I could think of, Guy, that would make it that uncontrollable?
Yeah, when that happens, you literally have no control.
Yeah.
And it literally snakes.
It goes like that.
Yeah. It's amazing to think that a piece of metal that would be only 5 square inches, I don't know, can absolutely keep control of a machine of such size with such power. But it makes it impossible without it.
Alrighty, on to quads. Now, there was no Loretto Toorak in these first two divisions. Furbank were also in Sydney. They were third last time. Loretto were first. And MGGS were also in Sydney. MGGS moved all their crews up one division, so you have to be aware of that.
Yep.
So, in Division 1, MLC won in a 3:35 from a brilliant MGC, Melbourne Girls.
Oh, sorry again. I know I keep interrupting you. Sorry, but just when you say moved up a division, because they'd moved, they had a crew racing in New South Wales. They pushed their other crews up a division.
Yeah, they all were up.
To give them experience, you would think?
I just think to make it neat. I mean, I just think... when you look at the results, these crews are in the top echelon of inter crews, so it didn't really matter that much.
Yep.
So here you had an interesting situation, Guy, where MLC won, MGC were brilliant. They lost by half a second. That school's totally flown under the radar. They didn't row the Morongo, so no one's really been looking out for them, but they've gone bang here and almost won the thing.
Yeah, right.
The MGGS seconds were third, and then you had these fast times by Ballarat Grammar, Loretto and Strathie. And when you look at the gaps between the ones that were in the A final and the B final, there was a second or two in the heats. So really a fantastic division. Yep. That's always been my favourite division, that IQ1 division, because the quality is just enormous.
Yep.
What did you think, Jo?
Yeah, I found it hard to get a better read this week compared to last week, because there were crews missing up in New South Wales and it shifted around a bit. But it was good to see MGC there this week or last weekend, and to see how great they're going. I think they're under a new head coach this year.
What's his name? Glenn or Graham? Graham Smith, is it? Graham Smith?
I'm not 100% sure.
I haven't met him yet.
You people impress me, I'll tell you what. Out of my level of knowledge here.
That's all right. Going on to Divi 2, again, no LT and the MGG thirds are representing the school. So MLC, yet again, has won in a 3:29. The MGGS thirds have actually come up second. Again, MGC a third. And Brighton, who I vaguely remember stopped rowing at one stage, were fourth. Interestingly, Loretto Ballarat won the B final in 3:31. and Furbank the C final in 3:37. But again, you can see how well MLC is doing there. Another victory. Going on to the thirds, this was LT here in a 3:37. Loretto Ballarat were 3:45. I mean, they've got 8 seconds over them. So you have to think that they're looking fairly good. It wouldn't surprise me if LT wins these top 4 divisions in Inters, because remember last year they won all those junior divisions.
So they just roll it through in theory.
Yeah, they're scrolling up. And in fourths, just quickly, same situation, MGC have rolled up. LT's won in a 3:38, again over 900 metres. Furbank a 3:46, a good effort. MGC again, 3:49. Loretto Ballarat, 4 minutes. MLC were won the B final in 3:45. So again there, MGGS has fallen away a bit here because the coming up a division doesn't always work.
As you go lower down, it's going to be harder, right?
Yeah, that's right. But again, LT look good, and again that trifecta looks good too. So there you have it.
Yeah, the Div 4 Loretto Tour, they were a second in it between Div 4 and Div 3, I think.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things that you hear a lot of parents, and I know I go on about this, but one of the things they do go on about is, what crew's your kid in, and rah. But, there's not a lot between, we're looking at the first places and the second places predominantly. But when you look through the depth, the times, there's not a lot of differences between a lot of these divisions, and the times, and especially with the small schools being, Div 3 and below, or Div 2 and below, depending on size. There's not a lot in it at all, really, and they all do the same level of hard work, and the problem is, to those that are listening in that have a kid in Div 7 or Div 8, we'd love to chat about them, but we can't, because we'd be here for 3 hours.
That's right.
And so that's the only reason we don't, but we do at the head of the Schoolgirls program, we do cover them all. We did that last year. It took a while, but we do want to cover them all as best we can, and we'd love to give everyone a shout out, because we know they're all doing the work, and we fully respect it.
That's right.
But we can only cover so much.
Yeah, you can only. I'd be nuts if I tried to do it all. It's hard enough as it is now. Yeah,
but on your Facebook group, Alan, you cover pretty much everything, and you start in actually about all year round, really.
Yeah. Well, it is good, particularly if I'm retiring, which is what I'm thinking of doing from work. So I might go down to Division 6, Joe. You'd love that.
Did you notice?
Joe, would you because you'll do this better than I would. I thought that was a very lavish regatta in St Cass setup. Do you want to briefly describe that?
Oh wow, what an awesome job they did, a parent group. I know I'm on the parent committee for rowing for Finchnover, and there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes, and the setup that St Catherine's had was just phenomenal. It was, what did they have? They had the pizzas. They had the pizzas. They just thought of everything, really, didn't they? The barbecues.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't take any more pizza orders because they couldn't keep up. I mean, there were coaches taking 8 boxes of pizza down to their kids at lunchtime.
What a fantastic idea, though. You wouldn't really think of it, but it was great.
I thought, I said to the president of Loretto Toorak Rowing, I said, Felicity, your number 1 ranking might be under some threat.
Well, I do have to be a bit cheeky. I've looked at the medal results. The pizzas didn't get them too much, did it?
No, actually,
I show, but no go.
I should actually mention there were some schools that did underperform. St Cass didn't perform brilliantly in these 2 year levels, nor did Wright, and Strathie were so-so.
Strathie haven't got a medal.
No,
Carey got a medal and Strathie didn't. What? Carey getting medals? Geelong College are getting medals.
The conditions in the I don't know, there was definitely, if we're going to talk about lanes, the bad lane on the weekend, I think.
Come on. You know where I stand on that one, Joe.
Joe, did you think it was 1 or 4 that was the bad?
1 for sure.
One.
Yeah.
Whatever lane you disadvantaged in, that's the one that's the problem.
A few were getting blown into the banks, and I think we had one girl tipped, so it wasn't...
Yeah, right.
Best conditions.
We had a men's quad tip tonight. Have you ever seen that happen? Not too often. Men's quad training.
Seen female quads tip.
Yeah. No, I've seen the odd quad tip.
Anyway, we've done well there. We've finished all that.
Did you notice, Alan? I'm gonna just checking with the times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they were all rowing 900 metres at the time, but the juniors and the inters.
Oh yeah, I know where you're going with this. Yep.
Yeah, there was.
Let's have a look.
Some similar times there.
So the juniors were doing the 900. What about the inters? What were they doing? They were both doing the 900. Yeah, they were doing the 900.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was JQ3 where they changed over.
Yeah.
So they did the 4 junior quad 4 was 1,000, and half of the split of JQ3 was 1,000. Then they went to 900 for the rest of the day.
Mm.
That means I've got to multiply all these things by 10 over 9.
Now, more importantly, who is the lead express?
The lead express?
You're looking at me like an alien. Well, because the year girls, the year 9 Div 1 girls, the race was sponsored by the lead express. I always like looking at the sponsors, as you know, Alan. I've mentioned JG King.
I do that occasionally.
Ballarat. I think the sponsors need to be recognised. I don't even know who the lead express is.
I don't know.
Oh, well.
I don't know.
But thank you, Lead Express, for sponsoring it.
Well, yes, indeed.
Here's a better one. Year 10, Division 1, sponsorship. Yep. The Centre for Optimism. They can sponsor every event. The Centre for Optimism.
I better devote some time to looking at that, guy.
That's very funny.
I might need some of that if I'm going to retire.
I got to speak to these people. The Centre for Optimism. We could all do with a bit of that when you're rowing.
We can. Well, do you want me to quickly just drive through
New South Wales?
New South Wales?
Let's go there quickly. Yep.
Okay. I'll just mention some individual results first. I thought in the under-19 pair, Lucy Gillen, ex-Wrighton and Mackenzie Kopke-Verdoos ran 4th, which was an excellent effort because they haven't had a good season to date. Under-19's Ella Girard. Well, this is really our nemesis. This is where Victoria has a big problem. We got one girl into a semi-final there, and that was Ella, and none of them made it through the heats, which is the major problem with Victorian rowing. We just don't have depth.
I remember you talking about this last year.
Yeah. I'll skip over it because it's depressing. Zara won, Zara Fury, and we're all delighted about that.
Yeah.
Joe, there is another C. McNally who rose for South Australia.
Ooh, look out.
Claim her. It's an Australian thing to claim. It doesn't matter if they come from New Zealand.
That's right.
Unless you're Russell Crowe, they can have him back. But
NUBC's Romy Cantwell won under 23. She's a brilliant rower, St Cath's. I have to mention our lightweights, particularly Alyssa Mirabelli, who won doubles at Head of Schoolgirls about 4 years ago when she was in Inter with her sister. She won 4 gold medals up in Sydney, which was brilliant, and she won under 21 lightweight single sculls by 14 seconds.
I can see that.
And Francesca Spano, remember her?
20 seconds, Alan. 20 seconds.
Was it 20? Was it?
Yep. 20.78.
Anyway, do you remember Francesca Spano from Fintona, Joe?
I do.
She won 2 gold medals, and she is just perfectly placed because those fleets in lightweights aren't that big. It's a little bit easier to get ahead.
So that Spano girl, she's a Fintonian, is it?
Yeah, she's Fintona from about, Joe, 2 years ago?
Yes, yep.
Well, there we go.
Yep, yeah. Lovely girl. So she represents Banks, and Alyssa Mirabelli is Essendon, so they combine.
Might need to get on the phone to her. We could do with her over at Hawthorn.
My daughter's got a bit of an involvement there, so I'm quite pleased. Now in lightweight doubles, Lulu Gleeson-Payne, who won double sculls at Head of Schoolgirls last year, and Ariel van der Poel were third, which was excellent for them. And on the big stuff, just finally, I don't know whether Victoria is going to win a schoolgirl gold medal at Nationals this year. Our best chances in eights. In the eights competition, Kinross Walleroy won from St Catherine's, New South Wales in pinball. Geelong College were fourth, Queenwood fifth, Geelong Grammar sixth, Loreto Turak seventh, and Geelong Grammar's seconds, who have to be favourites to win E2 at Head of Schoolgirls, were eighth. Furbank just missed out on the final. Furbank actually in under-21s beat St Catherine's, New South Wales, which my daughter was pretty forward in telling me about.
No.
Is that joyous for Victorian crews? Well, yeah, we didn't have St Cass there, MLC or MGGS, but that's our big chance of winning a gold medal at Nationals. Loreto Ballarat were only sixth in fours, and that's our best boat.
Yeah.
So, that's a concern. In quads, Gippsland Grammar finished exactly where all the pundits said they would, third, except that Kinross wasn't in the medals. A school called Northern Beaches Secondary was second, and Canberra Girls, which seems, always to beat Gippsland, were first. We didn't get any. I don't think we got anybody through to the schoolgirls doubles or singles finals, which is really sad. But then again, there you are. Loreto Turak was second in the baby eights, and because Commercial was first, I'm not sure Commercial can run schoolgirls at Nationals, being a club, not a school. I haven't quite worked that out yet. I don't think they can, which means Loreto Turak might be the shining light there. Their boats are exceptional. I mean, these are the girls that were undefeated last year.
Yep.
And there were some under-17 results there, which were interesting. A couple of our girls made the under-17 single scull final. Smith from Koroba and Camdure from Gippsland. But I don't know. So, not feeling overly confident.
No, but you were the same last year, and you were quite right, I think, last year too.
Yeah, I think I said to you this time last week, I met an ex-Victorian coach at the Barwon Regatta, and she was saying Victoria was still well behind, and you can't deny it. I mean, when Ballarat Clarendon won all those fours golds a couple of years ago, we were cock a hoop, and now Loreto, which I still believe is our best boat, are sixth. So it's staring you in the face.
Yeah.
Right.
Dear.
Now, do you want your gossip?
Yeah, Guy, you said you had something for us.
Okay. Well, you know how Donald Trump wants to make Canada the 51st state? I've noticed that Hamilton and Alexandra have entered the head of the lake in Ballarat. So does that mean Ballarat is making a stake for the city of Hamilton? Because usually the head of the lake is only Ballarat schools.
Oh.
So what's happening there?
Well, you've certainly caught me off guard. Jo, do you know what he's talking about?
No experience in this one.
Now, also,
you might need to educate us.
What has happened to Ngambie Gold this year? Not there.
I haven't heard of it yet. No. I suppose 50 grand last year didn't pan out.
No.
The idea, great in theory. The execution, maybe not as, I don't know. Don't want to be critical. It's a bloody hard thing to do. But yeah, disappointing, I think.
Yes. Maybe they need to rethink the concept.
I think there needs to be other angles to it. I loved the concept. I had a thought that I was trying to put to them that I couldn't get an audience to even put it forward. Was, it's about tourism, that Ngambie Gold, right? That was the whole point. And my thought was, totally sidetracking off this conversation briefly, but my thought was to put it to the Interstate Masters Cruise. Because there's 8s, put them together early and get them down and throw some money at them, because they're going to come down and blow the money in the township with a bunch of people. Again, sidetracking off this, but as opposed to the getting a pair of Olympic athletes up, that's fantastic. Everyone wants to see that, sure, but they're not going to be adding to your tourism, are they?
No.
Whereas nine men and women of 8 interstate masters 8s are going to come down there and spend a bucket load of money, because that's what they do. Anyway, I'm sidetracked.
And final 2, I hear that MLC's rowing folk were pretty peeved they weren't allowed to go to Sydney. I think they weren't allowed to go to Sydney, but somebody pulled the plug.
Who pulled the plug?
I don't know. It might be the business manager, it might be the principal, it might be someone else. But I think they were expecting to go at one stage. And I'm particularly pleased with Clarendon, because for the first time in a long time they've named all 5 coaches against their crews, which doesn't happen very often. So congratulations to Clarendon.
I do imagine though, Alan, they say, it's all good and well for us to sit here and say, they should be going to New South Wales, but it puts a lot of cost onto parents too, doesn't it? I imagine it means stick your hand in your pocket,
Yeah, but I mean, MLC isn't short of a quid, and if they thought they were going and then weren't.
Yeah,
they're not rowing, remember, at the Gambie, so that's interesting too. So they haven't rown. They rowed at that Wendouree Ballarat. They haven't gone to New South Wales, and they're not rowing this weekend.
Not rowing this weekend. I wonder why not this weekend.
Well, that's a good question.
Considering they've got the,
they've got states left.
Yeah, correct. It's a very short season. Very short season.
They might do the Henley.
Yeah. I mean, State Championships is 1st of March. That's a very short season. All that work for just a couple of races.
Well, I think, I was writing stuff down this afternoon. I thought, well, we just don't have enough 8s races. I mean, we need more 8s races, because that's the stuff that really excites everybody.
Everyone loves the 8s, yeah. Everyone loves the 8s. Anyway. We got the same at Masters. There's no competition out there. You just go and turn up and go, oh, geez, we've won a medal, but there's no one you're racing against. Yeah, it's obviously numbers. Sorry?
Are you winning a few medals next Sunday?
Next Sunday? Oh, look, I certainly hope so. Alan, I don't want to boast, but I'm comfortably in front on the Rowing Victoria Coxon points at the moment.
Oh!
But it's going to be a very big slide from here for 2 reasons. One is you get extra points for winning, and I've done a lot of races, not a lot of winning. But I'll be out of action for a few weeks with my new hip coming up soon too. But so I'm desperately trying to. This weekend I've got big hopes of a couple of wins. I see a guaranteed one in there. I'm not going to give anything away, but I think I might sneak in 2 this weekend. It's harder at Ngambie, of course, because you're a full field, and the beauty of Masters, you don't have to compete against those in your own race. You don't have multiple races.
Yeah.
Which I don't like, to be honest, but we can't change it. You'd have 3 days of a Masters regatta otherwise for a lot of
Well, the Masters seem to get a bit of a good go of it these days. I mean, there seem to be lots of regattas. I mean,
well, yes and no. What they did is, because when they got rid of D grade, which I don't agree with, but when they got rid of D grade, they also introduced a few other Masters divisions like the quads and the doubles, mixed doubles, and doubles into the main grade calendar. As a result, though, this season there is only 2 Masters regattas ahead of the Masters State Championships. Normally there's 4, has been 5. That helps me because I'll be out of action, so I won't be losing points. But I'm not selfish. But no, but the point being is that you've got literally only 2 Masters races, and one's at Geelong and the other one's at Ballarat. So there's not going to be great participation. Ballarat's not happened numerous times because of participation.
Your title might be safe.
I'm not going to count chickens, but the point being is that I don't know what's happening with Masters rowing as far as what the focus is, but it certainly has, with the change of creating more Masters races during the normal grade races, has created a lot more inclusivity. We're seeing it at our club, and again getting off the schoolgirls, we're seeing it at our club because we're actually being able to race stuff with our junior youth squad. Because we're at the regatta on the same day, which we haven't been in the past because of the way it's been structured. So we're putting together stuff where you might have some really great youth guys against some rowing with some 60-year-old guys, for lack of a better word, and everyone's getting a good experience out of it.
But I would have thought Sunday rowing looks a lot healthier than it did, say, 10 years ago. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, the club racing. Yes and no. I mean, it's hard. Look, I'd need to. I've only skimmed through entries just to see numbers of entries a few times to see comparisons. So I can't answer that straight away in any great depth. But suffice to say, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, I remember racing D grade 6 or 7 years ago, and you'd turn up and you'd be doing a heat and a final.
Oh, okay.
It's not even a C grade heat and a final these days, right?
And you've got a lot of schools now rowing Sundays, which is
which is good. We used to always have the young blokes testing us out because I used to prefer racing grade as opposed to Masters. But you're getting a lot more in grade. You're getting a lot more of the singles. A lot of the young guys in the singles and so forth, but there's nothing in eights at all in grade racing. So, there used to be sort of 4 D grade eights, and now that doesn't exist. You're only getting 2 C grade eights. So, yeah, I don't know. Look, it chops and changes. Depends on location and all that too, doesn't it?
Now, going back to this Ngambia regatta, Zara Kafuri is appearing in under 21s. And she's got most of the best schoolgirls there, so that should be a ripper of event.
Yep.
The eights will be good. The only 2 not really there are MLC and Geelong College. Geelong College resting there first, which is fair enough. They've been anybody who went to that Wendouree Ballarat regatta is quite entitled to a rest because they actually went, and they were in Sydney. But there's some great races. So I'm looking forward to it. Excellent.
Well, hopefully the weather plays sort of nicely. It looks like it might be a little bit cool up there.
Yeah, 19, and in Melbourne that day. So
it'll be a bit warmer up there, won't it? Well, it depends on what's happening. Anyway, so be it. Well, that does us for now, doesn't it? Geez, we've gone a long time tonight. We had a fair bit to cover though, didn't we?
Yeah. This week will be easy.
Yeah. This week will be a shorter one, won't it? Well, we'll see.
There are 2 C McNallys rowing in Australia. I'll just have to work out which one to follow.
Oh, come on! You're allowed some bias in this instance.
Yes. Go Fittener. That's what I say.
There we go. Exactly. Go Fittener. Anyway, on that note, let's wind up. Thank you, Alan, for joining me. Thank you, Jo, for joining me. It's been a great night, very informative, as usual. And we'll do it all again next week when we cover off what transpires at Ngambia this weekend. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And hopefully we'll see, or you will be, at Ngambia this weekend to experience some great racing. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Goodbye.